Concede, Señor, el descanso eterno y luzca para él la luz perpetua.
Emilio Pruneda grew up in Elsa, Texas, in a two-room house where his parents still live.
Acuérdate en tu misericordia de tu siervo Emilio Alcantar Pruneda.
Elsa is a small town up the road from the Mexican border. It's surrounded by sugarcane fields and a thick blanket of humidity.
A lot of times ride the bus and a lot of times we walk home.
Simon Pruneda is a resident of Washington State. Simon is also Emilio's brother. They both went to elementary school near Elsa, Texas. But because of Emilio's death, it hurts Simon to remember better times.
I can still see things, and I see when me and him were here.
At age 11, Emilio started his career as a migrant worker. At first, he traveled with his family, but then he went out on his own. Emilio's home was wherever he could find work.
He was good at what he did. That's where he got his money to live.
He lived under the stars.
The whole country was his home.
Emilio picked grapes in California, cotton in Texas, peaches in Georgia, tomatoes in Florida, and apples in Wenatchee, Washington.
We got our first call reporting shots being fired at 7 o'clock Saturday evening.
This is the trail that they were using.
2 weeks ago, Emilio was camping along this riverbank in Wenatchee. According to police, two 12-year-old boys were target shooting near his camp. The boys allegedly stole two .22 caliber handguns from a nearby home.
Yeah, it's pretty slick stuff. Yeah.
Police say the target shooting got out of hand when the boys started shooting at Emilio. Police detective John Matney.
The man then, out of frustration or fear, then threw some rocks in their direction. He didn't hit anyone. As far as we know, he didn't even come close to hitting them with the rocks. But that made the boys angry, and at that point, they planned between themselves to go kill him.
Sergeant Doug Tangen was first on the scene.
He at one point apparently fell down in here, possibly into the water.
Then the man who's now fighting for his life with the only tools that he has available, then he grabbed a rock and threw a rock, and he hit one of the boys in the side of the face with it.
Police say the boy that was hit by the rock opened fire on Emilio, and then so did the other boy.
So the two boys then walked back up to the top of the bank and reloaded both of the guns.
His feet down by the water and on his back up here.
One of the boys took both guns and walked back down the bank again.
Final shots were fired from about here.
He walked out onto a rock within a distance of about 10 feet, and he fired that gun at the victim until it was empty. He then put that gun down, picked up the other one, and fired that gun at the victim until it was empty.
How many times was he shot?
Con que nuestro hermano Emilio.
Emilio was shot at least 18 times, in the face, the chest, and the groin area.
It's 12 o'clock and time for Paul Harvey New News and Comment. Brought to you.
Wenatchee radio station KPQ asked listeners to donate money. It cost $1,900 to send Emilio's body home to Texas. Wenatchee pitched in. Radio personality Dave Bernstein.
And I had one man come in and hand me a $100 bill and say nothing more than, "Great job."
Friends and family gathered in Elsa, Texas for Emilio's funeral. Rogelio and Odilio are Emilio's brothers.
He was not a criminal person, you know, to be killed the way he was killed.
How many rounds does it take to kill a man? 18 times? What did they try to do, make Swiss cheese?
At Emilio's grave, a friend from elementary school played him one last song. Irás a mi tumba y ahí llorarás por mí. Emilio's parents barely got through it. Back in Wenatchee, both of the two 12-year-old boys are being held on a $100,000 cash bond. According to their relatives, the boys are starting to realize the situation they're in.
It's your turn.
While the boys are locked up, calls regarding kids and guns are still coming into KPQ radio.
It's important that students understand the difference between tattling and talking about issues that involve danger.
Cairo News talked with the parents of both boys. While one of the boys' parents declined to talk with us on camera, off camera they told us that their son is a normal 12-year-old boy. The other boy's parent, who is a single mom, agreed to speak with us on camera. Geraldina told us that she loves her son and wants him to stay locked up until he gets the help he needs.
Where do you go for murder? Where do you go, and what's left after that?
Tom Summers and some of his friends want the boys tried as adults. They have petitions in several stores in Wenatchee. Tom says he doesn't want his 10-year-old son to think you can kill someone and get away with it because of your age.
I want him to realize that you can't even think that way, that there is no way out, there is no change, there is nothing. You just don't do that.
It's nothing that we can understand, at least that I can understand.
Emilio Pranetta made his living with his hands. He followed the crops. Emilio's home was the ground beneath his feet and the sky above his head. When Emilio died, all he owned was what was in his pockets: 2 quarters, a bag of tobacco, a broken toothbrush, a pocket knife and a comb, and 1 small rock that he carried with him for several years.
He never did bother nobody, you know, or anything like that. You know, he was a real friendly person.
In Elsa, Texas, Scott Rensberger, Cairo News Channel 7.